Fans of Bluey love to watch the relationships in the series unfold, from the established marriages like Bandit and Chilli to the newly developed ones like Rad and Frisky. It's also popular to pair characters together, as many believe Bluey has the potential to have a relationship with a childhood friend once she's older. While a popular theory is that Bluey will end up with Mackenzie, a second choice has gained traction recently. One of the most well-loved theories for Bluey's partner is between her and the labrador she meets in the episode Camping. In today's video, we're examining 5 reasons Bluey and Jean-Luc should become a couple. Number 1. Love at first sight. When it comes to telling stories, the same tropes get reused, often due to their popularity and relatability. The trope about finding love at first sight is something you can find anywhere, from songs, books, movies, and even children's animation. Bluey seems to experience a version of this eye-catching romance when she goes on the camping trip with her family, meeting Jean-Luc in the riverbed diving their campsites. Although the pair can't communicate verbally, their brief encounters over passing days allow them to grow closer, to the point where they hold hands and exchange hugs while playing. Once Jean-Luc's holiday is over and his family leaves the campsite, Bluey wonders if they'll meet again, and it's clear they remain a core memory for one another as they grow up, as they remember each other even as years go by. The series isn't opposed to using the love at first sight narrative to bring characters together. It first occurs in Double Babysitter, when Uncle Rad meets Bluey's godmother Frisky, and the pair spend an entire evening watching over Bluey and Bingo while learning more about each other. They later begin dating, and many fans believe they'll get married in the future. If Bluey follows her uncle's example, their love stories could parallel one another perfectly. There's also another relationship in the series that could closely resemble what Bluey and Jean-Luc may feel when they meet again as teenagers. In the episode Barky Boats, Calypso's class meets with their older school buddies, but Bluey and Mackenzie find themselves in a peculiar situation. Their buddies, Mia and Captain, run off together, accidentally leaving their younger friends behind. Calypso explained that as they aged, Mia and Captain's feelings started to change, explaining how they developed a crush on one another over time. It's possible that Mia and Captain don't yet realize they have feelings for one another romantically, but it's clear these feelings have grown over time. Bluey and Jean-Luc may end up in a similar situation after their reunion. Number 2. Childhood connections. While some relationships begin when two strangers meet, others succeed because of shared experiences and memories between two people. It's not uncommon for childhood friends to become couples once they are older, with romances blossoming due to knowing someone as a good friend and learning their passions, quirks, and most lovable qualities. Bluey and Jean-Luc have the potential to experience this, as their shared memories from camping together as children can help them rekindle a relationship once they meet again as teenagers. The series has already proved a relationship like this can work with Bandit and Chilli. In the episode Fairy Tale, Bandit tells his daughters a story before bed about his life in the 80s, when he was still a kid alongside his brothers Stripe and Rad. The episode follows Bandit as his bullying leads him to being prevented from speaking until someone says his name, with his family members refusing to lift the metaphorical curse. In the end, a girl picks up his hat with his name written inside it, allowing him to speak again by reading the inscription. Although Chilli has no memory of the interaction, Bandit claims the girl from his childhood memory was the same person he's now married to. While Chilli may not remember meeting Bandit while on vacation, he retained the memory as he grew up. Bandit may have recognized Chilli when they met again as adults, prompting him to approach and pursue her romantically. While they didn't have as strong childhood memories to connect them as Bluey and Jean-Luc do, their example bodes well for Bluey and her potential for a future partner. Number 3. The test of time. It's not always easy, but Bluey and Jean-Luc pass the test of time, a trope that can often cause couples to drift apart. The pair meet as children, spending a week pretending to live in the wilderness together as they build houses, haunt a pretend boar, and plant a tree to acquire fruit. Despite the communication barrier, they become good friends, only to grieve each other when their time together gets cut short and they have to part ways. There's a beautiful conversation between Bluey and Chilli once Jean-Luc leaves, where Bluey expresses her sadness about losing a friend and wonders if they'll ever meet one another again. Chilli responds that it's possible because the world is magical, proving her points by turning off the light to reveal the glimmering night sky. Her intuition turns out correct, as there's a montage of the tree they planted growing throughout the years. Like that tree, their friendship remains strong despite the passage of time. They meet again as teenagers beneath the tree they planted, Jean-Luc speaking English for the first time as he greets Bluey by name. As the scene closes, the pair share a look while their tails start to wag, signifying how happy they are to see one another again. If the same excitement and joy they shared as children could survive so long, they have a high chance of developing romantic feelings just as strongly. Number 4. Shared imagination. Nothing brings children together more than shared imagination. We see examples of this throughout the series as Bluey and Bingo make up random scenarios alongside their friends. They pretend to be doctors, circus entertainers, or space explorers, with no end to how their games can conclude. These games provide them the perfect way to bond and make memories, using their childlike wonder as a springboard for developing their relationships. The same is true for Bluey and Jean-Luc, whose shared imagination allowed them to grow closer in a short amount of time. Bluey's already engaged in a game of make-believe when she meets Jean-Luc, pretending she's cast out of her home and destined to live in the wilderness. When Jean-Luc joins in, capable of keeping up with Bluey's imagination, he shares her suggestions about building a makeshift home or how to gather food. Their game continues for several days, long enough for the seed they planted to sprout in the riverbed. Amazingly, Jean-Luc manages to share Bluey's ideas, capable of following her train of thought before she's finished speaking. When you translate his voice lines throughout the episode, he's often agreeing with Bluey or acknowledging her plans despite not speaking the same language. Their natural flow and understanding, even in play, could translate easily into their friendship as teenagers and relationships as adults, as they could emphasize and understand one another better than anyone. Number 5. Becoming friends despite the odds. Fortunately, Bluey and Jean-Luc managed to become friends despite the odds. Jean-Luc is a French labrador seemingly camping in Australia for their holiday. Jean-Luc doesn't speak English when he meets Bluey, keeping a language barrier between them as they continue to play throughout the episode. It's not uncommon for children to meet those from different places, but differences in homes, communication, and game preferences could keep them from becoming friends. Bluey and Jean-Luc overcome these challenges, making lifelong memories with each other. It's also phenomenal that their two families end up at the same camping spots where Bluey and Jean-Luc met, even after years have passed. We know that his family left suddenly, so the healers had no chance of contacting them or letting Bluey and Jean-Luc continue to keep in touch. Their reunion at the end of camping was a lucky chance encounter. However, Chilli told her the world was magical and her words couldn't be more true. It's possible Bluey and Jean-Luc finding their way back to one another was destiny. Although many would argue that Bluey and Jean-Luc should stay friends, other couples and Bluey have gotten together for the reasons in this list. The two unlikely friends have undeniable chemistry, sharing a like mind and understanding. They make lifelong memories together, and there's no denying how happy they are to see each other again. If they did become a couple, no one would be surprised. If a future epilogue-sequenced episode ever airs in the series, we may glimpse Bluey with Jean-Luc and the family they could have together. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.